we worked on what we wanted for each of these characters, what each of them kind of stood for, creating these little micro worlds within the film of the station and the villages. And humor is so disarming as a tool. You can approach the darkest of subjects and the most serious of issues in a softer, lighter way, and open them up for conversation, which I feel is far more impactful and has perhaps a more profound impact. In this film particularly, of course it's a funny film and all of it, but it's also touches it touches chords that we hope sort of you leave the cinema remembering things. It seemed the right time when a mobile would be given in dowry. It's a big enough deal that it's one of the big gifts for dowry. So that's why we situated it in 2001. People who have experienced trains to get the same feeling that I had or have when I go to trains. The getting to know the people in your compartment, sharing food, sharing conversations. Buying things as they pass along the compartment. So there's a lot of nostalgia associated with trains, and my collaboration with Ram was just absolutely wonderful because he has such a deep idea and understanding both of storytelling through music as well as the sort of diverse world of sound and how it can, instrumentation and accenting that can bring things to life through music. So he had also the difficult job of working with somebody who'd never done songs in films before. The 4 songs were for me a completely new exercise.
What a delightful film. Big congratulations.
Thank you. I read your tweet and I was just so over the moon, Namrata.
It is such a delightful film. I think it kind of really touched a chord, and I watched it twice, by the way. I watched it again after tweeting, and just before the interview, I thought I may as well watch it once more just to see how it works for me the second time round. I think I was as with the characters as I was the first time.
Oh, great. Thank you. Thank you so much.
So, cool. Long time that I saw you, but longer since you gave us a film, and I don't know what to call it. What was it? 12-year sabbatical, hibernation? I don't think so, because with the film, the way we have seen it, the creative juices must have been flowing. So what was it? Why did it take so long for the second film to come about?
Honestly, it wasn't intentional. I've been working through these last 10, 12 years on many things, actually. My life has been very, very full and very satisfying on many levels. I've been producing, did a bunch of films, including, Dangal, Secret Superstar, Lal Singh. Lots of films have happened in this period. And Mami has happened. I've been, of course, a mum and all the rest of it. And consistently have been working on my own stories, on building scripts. I've got a couple of series that I'm developing. And all of that was happening alongside, work and life, but nothing actually became the script I wanted to do next. The second film is always a little bit of a struggle because, you want to push yourself out there a little more. You want to take a few more risks. And honestly, when this came along, I just knew instinctively that this was what I wanted to do as my second film. And it did take as long as it did. Of course, COVID played spoilsport in the middle and things got more delayed than we would have liked. But time passes fast, but I guess, good things come to those who wait.
Truly they do. And, you anticipated my kind of couple of questions that I had to ask you with, what you said about the, how you went about making the film, which is like the second film, it's supposed to be a bit more of a challenge for a filmmaker. And it's often said that the first film is located in the world which you know the best, and the second is when the filmmaker spreads her wings, Has it been that way for you? Because they're very different worlds. Dhobi Ghat and Lost Ladies, very different worlds.
Absolutely. It was honestly, like you said, Dhobi Ghat, I drew from personal experience. I drew from things that I knew and stories that were close to my heart. And the second film, like you said, it sort of demands diving a little deeper and flexing your sort of directorial muscle a little bit, understanding also in terms of craft, in terms of storytelling, how much more you can do than stay in your own safe sort of storytelling world or parameters which you kind of have set through, life, film school, all the things that you've learned. And I really felt like this was a great opportunity to do that because story-wise, it's something, honestly, that I personally couldn't have written. It's an incredible script, starting with Biplab's story and then Sneha's screenplay. It was a script that was really sparkling, delightful, funny, wonderful script, and again, it was a world and a milieu that I would have to push myself to sort of kind of bring to life in some way. Of course, it draws again from personal experience. I've worked through Pani Foundation in the villages. I've traveled extensively in the country, but it's still, I mean, in terms of the kind of genre of film it is, it's a comedy, it's much more broad-based and has mass appeal and has a whole, so many more characters and so much more happening that it was, for me, a big challenge. It was a little bit of a leap. And that seemed like the perfect vehicle to sort of, do my, make my next work.
The writing is so well calibrated in the sense that I was looking at the characters, the situations, the relationships, even the places. I mean, there's something so bizarre with the turn of events, yet, being an Indian, knowing that reality, that each thing is probable, it's not as though, it's something totally bizarre and, fanciful. And the range of women. So, did the writing in turn make direction easier for you? I mean, with this kind of a solid writing behind you.
Absolutely. No, it did. When we actually got Biplab's script, the story itself was a really solid, sort of wonderful blueprint to start from. And then when we brought Sneha on board, we kind of knew that we were going to change the tone of the film a little bit towards comedy, a little, more satire and, kind of more entertaining than the original story was. And Sneha was the absolutely perfect writer for it because she has theater training and is able to craft really rhythmic and lyrical kind of dialogue, which has this wonderful sawal jawab kind of quality to it. And we worked on what we wanted for each of these characters, what each of them kind of stood for, creating these little micro worlds within the film of the station and the villages and the cop station and all the characters in it. And she was able to imbue it all with this wonderful flavor, this very sort of genuine rooted kind of characterization. And the script then became a sort of launch, like a leaping, launch pad for me, a springboard, because it was already so solid on paper. So I really had something great to start with. And, then it was my job to make it cinematic and cast it well and all the rest of it.
And the shooting, was it post-COVID that you shot? What was the shooting?
Oh my gosh, I have such stories about the shooting. We actually started shooting at the height of the Omicron wave. We started early last year, and 2 days before we started shooting, my DOP got COVID, and successively, several actors got COVID. I got COVID by the end of the first schedule. So we shot through Jan to March last year. and had many brushes with the virus, but survived it. I mean, we managed to stay on schedule, somehow managed to finish the film in time. But yes, that was very much coinciding with COVID, and our prep also, we just missed, we finished after the second wave. We kind of started prep and got into the shoot.
And a fantastic set of actors. Apart from Ravi Kishan, I don't think I myself, despite following the film world closely, I mean, they all have come as such a surprise. How did the casting come about? What are their backgrounds like? If you could tell a bit about all of these.
So when the story is so genuine and so kind of honest, we really wanted a cast that would bring that sort of tone of authenticity to the film. And it was the kind of story that doesn't necessarily need stars. In fact, fresh actors, we felt, would bring a believability and sort of be able to take you on this journey without the expectations that a star cast would have brought. So from the get-go, knew we wanted new faces, but also actors who had the skill set to sort of do this tone of satire, drama, comedy. We had a wonderful casting director called Romil, who cast the net far and wide. We were looking for people who also spoke with the right dialect and felt like they belonged to this world. And we were really, really lucky to be able to cast genuinely wonderful actors. A lot of them actually from theatre, a lot of them local to MP. Actors from television. Two of my lead cast lots of them have done television and series before, and many non-actors as well. So the only two or three veterans are Ravi Kishan and Chaya Kadam and Geeta Agarwal, who plays Deepak's mother. So we did have a very sort of mixed and diverse cast that sort of reflect the rich talent that we have, in our industry and across the country. Actually, our actors come from everywhere. Deepak's father is from Agra. We have a range of acting talent in the film, and it became a very fun and very important exercise for us to rehearse together and do workshops so that we could all find the right balance, riff off each other, find the correct timing for our performances. And it was wonderful. I mean, I enjoyed working with all of them thoroughly, and lots of them are completely new to cinema. Chotu, for instance, Satyendra, Abdul, of course, Dubey has been seen in Panchayat before this, but wonderful actors that, together become hopefully like very, very memorable, even though their parts sometimes are small, but are hopefully, performances that stay. And
you're so right, because even a character like, that guy who keeps asking for chutney, I was so well integrated, and I was like, the film would not be what it is without him, even though he may not have much to do. Yeah. And another thing which kind of I really appreciate about the film is that you're looking at a lot of issues, right? You're looking at gender, you're looking at marriage, you're looking at education, you're looking at organic farming, you're looking at dowry, you're looking at cops. I mean, I love that line where she says that the first loss is that of the theft, and then the bigger thing is going to the cop station. But throughout there is this element of humor, and you are not shrill. It's not a rant. It's not critical in the sense that we know criticism is all about. Something about this tone that you have very consciously worked with, and which I think is the biggest strength of the film for me.
That was very intentional, because we wanted it to be a sort of fun journey, an exciting journey where we take you on these twists and turns, unexpected encounters. You don't know what to sort of expect around the corner. But at the same time, we knew we wanted to seed a lot of these ideas and use the humor as a vehicle to, touch upon issues and open up conversations that we feel are important. And humor is so disarming as a tool. You can approach the darkest of subjects and the most serious of issues in a softer, lighter way, and open them up for conversation, which I feel is far more impactful and has perhaps a more profound impact. So that was intentional, and we worked very hard to sort of keep it within that sort of framework where plot and character actually open up these conversations rather than exposition and speechification. If you know, we just didn't want any sort of long monologues telling you what to think and what is right and what is wrong. And I'm glad that worked. That was hope.
And the music, Ram Sampath, fantastic. But I was also completely taken in with that lady who sings in the cop station, which is it's a very small film. It's kind of like you've not used the big stars, but when it comes to the music, it's the same. It's an aesthetic, that popular aesthetic that we all have grown up with. How crucial is music to you as a filmmaker?
It's well, for me, it's literally sound and music is half the film for me. It's, I mean, obviously a visual medium, but without the right music and sound design, which was done by Ayush Ahuja, I think is absolutely stellar work by him. This film would just not be effective. It just wouldn't be what it is. And my collaboration with Ram was just absolutely wonderful because he has such a deep idea and understanding both of storytelling through music as well as the sort of diverse world of sound and how it can, instrumentation and, accenting that can, bring things to life through music. So he had also the difficult job of working with somebody who'd never done songs in films before. The 4 songs were for me a completely new exercise, and actually we had a wonderful time because Ram works with lyricists himself and brought on the lyricists into the film, and was very much collaborative on that level, even in creating the 4 songs. So music is very, very important, I think, for me. And in this film particularly, of course, it's a funny film and all of it, but it's also, touches it touches chords that we hope, like, sort of you leave the cinema remembering things. It leaves you with certain memories, and music does so much for that. He's used a vast kind of lovely variety of folk instruments and sort of musical structures that kind of, in some way, classical training and folk training is so deep for him that he was able to bring it to life with this film. It's very integral to how the images finally work.
Was there any reason why you located in 2001 and MP, shot it in MP? Are there fond memories of Peoply Live behind going back to MP?
Yeah. So 2001, because of this, connectivity that sort of changes after sort of the mid 2000s, we did a little bit of research to check when the penetration of mobiles would have just about started in sort of tier 2 cities and villages, and it seemed the right time when a mobile would be given in dowry. It was it's a big enough deal that it's one of the big gifts at for dowry. So that's why we situated it in 2001. Yeah, Madhya Pradesh is, I mean, we have the greatest memories actually of shooting in MP. It is truly one of the most spectacular states, geographically, architecturally, the villages themselves, so many of them are fairly untouched. I mean, you actually see these beautiful cobble streets that you see in the film, traditional houses, picturesque fields. So we actually had rivers and hills, and it's an absolutely wonderful state, and their infrastructure for shooting is also incredibly well set up now, and they were very, very supportive, and we had a very good team there who work on film called Zeal Productions. Yeah, so we enjoyed our time there very, very much. I think Peoply Live was shot not far away from where we shot this. I mean, in a village, we didn't shoot in the same village, but all these villages are roughly an hour from Bhopal. So there were lots of overlaps also in terms of people who had worked on Peoply Live, background actors, and people who had perhaps worked there, but it wasn't in the same village as Peoply was shot.
It was a nostalgia trip for me, Kiran, because, back then at the time of Peoply Live, when I was working with Outlook, I had gone to Madurai. Madurai was the village. And kind of just to give a different perspective to a story on the film.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. And lastly, because I think we are running out of time, you said that you've been into the rural landscape quite a bit with Pani Foundation. But tell me about the railways, the trains, because this is the other thing which is so lovely about the film. That romance of train journeys, those train stations with the quaintest of names, and quaintest of shops. How much of a railway person are you?
Oh my God. I'm so glad you asked that. I have such memories associated with traveling by train. All of my, I don't know, 20, 30 years, the first 20 years of my life, I didn't do anything but train journeys. And the long distance train journeys, especially going from Calcutta to Bangalore, where my grandmother was. And like you said, they're experiences, the sights and sounds and the cellars and the landscape that you pass, and like you said, the romance actually of train journeys. I absolutely, have the fondest memories of traveling by the Indian Railways, and we actually, lucked out getting two beautiful stations that we could shoot in, railway tracks as well that we had to shoot on the sides of, and yeah, creating that world was also a challenge, because we were shooting in the middle of COVID, and we needed hundreds of people to be on those stations right in, at that Omicron wave, when actually we would have to create a bubble around the whole, not just our shooting unit, but 200 extras, who were peopling those trains. But yeah, I wanted people who have experienced trains to get the same feeling that I, had or have when I go to trains. The getting to know the people in your compartment, sharing food, sharing conversations, buying things as they pass along the compartment. So it's there's a lot of nostalgia associated with trains, and I could not at all stomach the idea of shooting it on a set. I was very sure that I wanted to shoot on live trains and moving trains, and that of course posed its own set of challenges, but it gave us the results that we wanted.
Great. It was such a fun ride of a film, and I think already I'm seeing that you are getting some great reviews out there at TIFF, and I just hope it gets bigger and better reviews when it finally comes to India. How long are you there in Toronto? You're going to be there for a bit at TIFF?
I'm here for 2 more days. I'm here till the 12th. Yeah.
Okay. 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 All the best, Kiran. Lovely watching
Thank you.
this film.
Great talking to you, Namrata, as
Yeah,
always.
same here. Same here, and hope to
Yeah.
catch up with you in person very soon then.
Yes.
Have
Thanks
a
so much.
great trip and a safe travels back home then. Bye. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.